All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Digimax Jump, the Side Out podcast with Sandy and CMOORE. We got 7 questions today for the one, the only Kerry MacDonald. So I guess my first question here, Kerry, is who are you?
And what is your title and role, I should say?
All right. So Kerry MacDonald, my title with Volleyball Canada is I'm Director of Sport Science, Sport Medicine, and Innovation. So that's my job title, I guess. And who am I? I'm a volleyball coach. I guess been coaching volleyball for 17, 18 years, something like that. Like club and provincial team. Did that for a long time. Did my master's degree, my PhD in Calgary, and then came out to Vancouver with UBC's job opening back in 2016. Did that for a couple of years before moving into this role with Volleyball Canada 2 years ago.
Okay, so that's a really fancy title. So what exactly do you do?
That's a very good question. Not much, no. I'd like to think I do a lot, but basically my primary role is overseeing. When we think of like at the national team level, probably my biggest role is what we call the integrated support team. So whether it's on the indoor national team side, the beach side, or the Paralympic side, all of those teams all have what we call an integrated support team. And that's kind of like the team behind the team. So excluding the coaches, those people. So this is our sports psychologists, this is our strength and conditioning coaches, sport dietitians, mental health practitioners, chief medical officers, those would be the kind of the big runs. So what I do is oversee those individuals. I hire and then develop those teams around our teams. And then any of our kind of sports science or sport medicine initiatives that we have with all in those programs, I drive that. So whether that's what is the testing battery that we do for physiological testing with our men's national team, to how do we track physiological performance metrics with our women's national team over time, or predict future national team success based on physiological measures, things of that nature. I do a lot of that sort of idea. And then I'm on the medical side, I would say it extends a lot more into like the club and volleyball world. So things like looking at concussion policies, different medical policies like that. And then the innovation piece is kind of the research arm of what I do. So we've done some research around, some stuff around concussion, some stuff around like ball mechanics and the mechanical properties of balls and how that impacts concussions. We're doing some top secret stuff I can't talk about too much with our beach national team athletes primarily around visual behavior and trying to assess some visual behavior parameters and helping give our beach national team athletes maybe a bit of a bump to put them on the podium in Tokyo 2021 now. So projects like that. We had another study. We have some different embedded studies going on with international team programs. So I oversee those. So that's awesome. That's kind of the gist of what I do there.
The one word in your title that I love is the innovation part, because I'm fascinated by that stuff. I love seeing sports progress all the time. So I appreciate that. And then one thing you said earlier, you said that you got the job, you came to the UBC job opening. What exactly was that for people who don't know?
Oh, sorry. That was UBC men's volleyball head coach. So varsity team. So I was, prior to that, I'd been in Calgary for 13 years. I did my undergraduate degree there. I lived there while doing my master's, and I finished my PhD there. I coached with the University of Calgary for 6 or 7 years with them. And then in 2016, the UBC men's position opened up and I applied, and for some reason they hired me, and thankful they did.
And then you worked there 2 years. It went terribly. You got fired.
Yeah.
Is that what happened? How did you only stay there 2 years? What happened?
So in 2 years we did win nationals and things went fairly well. We had a good run. It was more this position presented itself as an opportunity, and myself having a research background and my PhD, I'm hugely passionate on the coaching side as well. But this is kind of allows me to stay involved in both areas. And there's just something about being able to help your country that it's really burns deep for me, and being able to wear the maple leaf. I love UBC. I love everything about my experiences there. I'm still heavily involved and passionate about seeing them succeed and continue to grow, great humans and great volleyball players. However, trying to help our country win medals at the highest stage was something I had a hard time looking away from. And when the opportunity came, I had to take it.
So
Awesome.
you are involved still at UBC a bit?
Yeah, so I still am involved with them. I'm listed as an assistant coach with that program. I attend practice. I actually maintained a lot of my office space at UBC and work out of there primarily when we're not in COVID lockdown. That's where I primarily work from. And then I do teach some classes up at UBC in the Masters of Coaching program still. So have different kind of ins going on there as well. But yeah, my primary employment is Volleyball Canada now.
The man of many side hustles.
Lot of balls in the air. I'm doing a lot of juggling. Yeah.
Okay, so you are the smartest volleyball person that I know. So I'm going to ask you this question here. We hear from our athletes all the time that their indoor coaches are telling them not to play beach as it ruins their indoor game. So as an incredibly intelligent volleyball person, what is your response to that?
Yeah, I think it's pretty bogus. I would say that's an opinion that's not backed up by evidence. Would be the simplest way that I'd say it.
I like that wording. Yeah, we as such beach proponents, we do hear that from people all the time. Like, I mean, it's like they're almost not out in the open about it. They're almost in secret telling people like, don't go play beach, don't do that. Just play indoor throughout the summer. It's better for your game. Or don't play them at the same time. And it's like they're encouraging to not be, rounded athletes or multisport athletes. It's a bit of a fight we fight sometimes, which is unfortunate because we're not fighting the other way. We're not telling people to not play indoor. We're not doing anything. It's very strange.
Yeah, and I would say if anything, the evidence would would be contrary to that opinion. So we don't have a ton of evidence that I'm aware of specific to our sport of volleyball, but there's a lot of mounting evidence now in professional sports that have looked at sports specialization and late sports specialization. And we are definitely not an early specialization sport. That is for sure. We have facts on that. So if that being the case, the fact that we are a later specialization sport, most evidence would actually point to the fact that playing multiple sports would be beneficial. So not just indoor players playing beach, but indoor players also doing other sports as well is likely more beneficial for that athlete's long-term development.
That's awesome. I'm big on that. I mean, kids, they don't realize that they have how good they have it when they're at high school. When they're there, they have all these sports they can play at school. It's so awesome. You know, do track, and you track, play basketball, you play volleyball, soccer, you name it. There's all kinds of things. It's pretty sweet. So I'm all for the multi-sport. I loved that when I was a kid. I still love it now.
Absolutely. And I would actually say maybe one of the greatest athletes I ever coached on the indoor side was Ben Saxton, a fairly well-known beach volleyball player. But when he was definitely a beach volleyball player through high school, even like he played a ton of beach and that's where his passion was. He played indoor volleyball for us and we were just so fortunate that he was, we're just lucky that he still wanted to play some indoor. And because of it, like when I coached him in his grade 12 year of club volleyball, like he set for us, he played left side, he played right side. I could have made him play middle if I wanted to, and he played libero. Like that guy could play any position we wanted on the indoor side, and he was good enough that he could start at all of them. And he could have went to university and played all of them as well. And he was so well-rounded because of that. But that's really because of his background on the beach side that his versatility was incredible.
Man, I need to clip that 30-second there as like a testimonial. It's like, cause that's awesome. I mean, not even about Ben, but it's just that's about a general athlete that you see in a beach athlete that they can do everything. Because we talk about all the time, they're out there doing everything. If you're the defender, you need to defend the whole court. You need to read that court. You need to move. There's just not a specialization like the indoor game where you can actually. One of the guys who played, you don't know him, Kerry, played at the beach for a long time. It's Phil Weir. He played our national badminton team actually, and he called indoor volleyball an individual team sport, and it kind of is in a way because everyone's so specified. I mean, not that it's a bad thing. I mean, other sports have it too, but I kind of like that wording.
Yeah. Cool.
CMOORE, far away again.
Okay. I love this. So let's do a fun one. What were your first thoughts of Sandy and CMOORE when you met us?
That's funny. The first time I don't think I'd even met you. The first time that I heard about you was I just moved to Vancouver and it was Van Open and you were both on the mics.
Oh God. What an intro.
So that was my intro to CMOORE and Sandy was you guys on the mic on center court at Van Open. And I was just killing myself. And then I heard that Sandy was doing the mic at UBC, and I'm like, oh, this is great. Yeah, definitely. I think that would be my first impressions. I'm like, these guys, they're hilarious. Yeah, definitely extroverts, and yeah. So
that's a pretty good impression. I definitely appreciate that.
Okay, so this one's going to be a really hard one because I'm going to make you pick one thing. Okay. So what is the number one thing that you think that youth coaches don't work on enough with their athletes?
Oof.
You have to pick one.
Okay, let me think about this for a second. Does it have to be a skill?
No.
Like a volleyball skill?
Anything.
Okay, then this one's easy. It's athlete autonomy in their learning.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by that is like athletes engaged in the entire learning process. So developing athletes that have the ability to be self-reflective, self-critical, to like provide, like really analyze themselves, as opposed to being dependent on a coach for all of their feedback.
I like that a lot, because we've kind of learned over the years ourselves, and then at least I've gone to clinics and realized that instead of just telling somebody maybe went wrong, ask them, why do you think that didn't go right for you, or didn't go as well as you thought? And lots of times you are surprised they know what went wrong.
Yeah.
And one of the questions that Sandy and I had on our first one of these little Zoom Instacast we're doing was somebody asked, what's your favorite thing, or what's the best thing in an athlete that you see, or something like that. And mine was that their ability to be self-reflective, and I can give them a feedback cue, and they're not worried about making a bunch of mistakes as they try that new cue, and they can self-regulate. Because that's what I love about sport, is it's like instant, non-judgmental feedback.
Yeah.
Right. You didn't make that play, or you didn't make that shot, and why not? And then can you think about it? That's great.
Yeah. And I would say, just like dealing with athletes at the national team level, it's exceedingly, if you don't have that skill, you must have some incredible physiological gifts. It's like, there's no one that's at the national team level that doesn't have that ability to be really self-reflective and like self-critical and analyze themselves to make themselves better. I mean, there are some that have that at the national team level, but they're also just like the physical freaks that don't even have to think about it. They just, they touch over 12 feet and jump 40 inches high and hit 120 kilometers an hour. And so they don't even think about it. They just go through the motions. They're just so much more physically dominant. But those that don't have that ability to just be like more physically dominant than everyone else, they are improving, and their rate of improvement has been so rapid. That's why they're at the national team level. And I think they all possess different amounts, but they definitely have this.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a great answer. So word came down earlier this year officially, but it's been behind the scenes for a bit, that the NCAA is talking about adding men's beach volleyball as a sport. What do you think about that? Like,
awesome.
Do you have any thoughts? Be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think NCAA, if you look at men's volleyball in general in the States, on the indoor side, it's really struggled. It's because of Title IX, it doesn't get the same kind of funding that they get on the women's side. There's not as many programs. There's very limited scholarship opportunities. So like growth of volleyball in the States is fairly limited. And because of that, Canadians don't have a lot of opportunity to play down south of the border on the indoor side. But then on the beach side, there's really no options. Like we have no options for, once you're a male player and you turn 19 years of age, if you want to continue to play volleyball, like beach volleyball, it's your like primary sport, you got to make the next gen group with our national team program in Toronto. There's a small group I know that started up this last year here in Vancouver to try and provide some opportunities to keep training beach in a year-round environment, which when we talk about sports specialization, there's a time and place when specialization is needed. And once you start getting over the age of 18, I think specialization can be the right path to eventually becoming, say, an Olympian. But not that it has to be. But I think, if there's an opportunity, if you're a really serious beach volleyball player at the age of 18, to have opportunities to head down and play NCAA beach on the men's side would be awesome. I think we're seeing the positives of that on our women's side. And we look at the athletes that are coming now, and the next gen athletes that are coming into our national team program. And there's a very high proportion of those that are coming out of the NCAA system.
Yeah, I think Canada on the women's side, 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I think those are NCAA. Well, 3 of the 4 players, and Sophie Bukovic, the McNamara twins, are all played in NCAA beach volleyball, which is what a great pathway for us, like us as a nation, that we're having I guess our, I'm not say our best, but some of our best athletes trained for 4 more years before they have to get inserted, or if they have a chance to get inserted into the national team program.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And one
so
thing
it's
NCAA does a really good job of too is the physiological development. Like they're driven by
yeah,
sports like football and basketball on the physiology side. So they do a really good job from a strength component. So those athletes are going down there, and not only are they playing beach volleyball in a year-round environment, often in cities that allow that to happen, but also they're going to come back strong. And we know that that's a major piece as well for future success.
and they're getting such good support. I mean,
Yeah.
those big money programs are just so well supported in the gym, mentally, everywhere. So we got about 20 seconds left here, Kerry. Just give me a quick thought, a lasting thought for a youth beach volleyball player.
A lasting thought. That's a good point. I think the only thing is like be an active driver of your own development.
Beautiful. I love that. Kerry, thank you very much.